Hello guys,
Dobra,
nice to
oglądamy i
meet you.
komentujemy.
I'm Leah and this is Dying to Know. If you're dying to know what's going on in the world of Dying Light 2, then
Mam wam
you're in the
tłumaczyć?
right place. Here we'll be showing you all the news, the latest from the Dying Light world. We'll be announcing a few contests, we'll be talking to developers, and probably most importantly, we're going to be showing you
Tak
a
samo jest z
brand new
Baldurem? Nie, no, mam
gameplay
nadzieję, że nie.
trailer where you can see the current state of the Dying Light 2 game. But first, there's someone here I need to introduce you to. It's Aiden Caldwell.
Aiden Caldwell teraz.
An outcast, roaming like a Japanese Ronin or an Old West desperado.
Yeah.
My past is dark, but my future has a tiny, dying light at the end of this tunnel. Hello, guys. My name is Jonah Scott, and I voice Aiden Caldwell in Dying Light 2. But before that, I'm going to host this program with Leia, if you don't mind.
My pleasure. Well, I'm ready. Jonah's definitely
Mają to
ready.
studio
And I
z
hope you're
diodami.
ready.
Z
So
tymi
if you're dying to
panelami
know,
LED,
just like
nie
us,
dookoła.
stick with us.
Zajebiste to jest. Teraz nawet live'y
The
z
story
będą
told
robić.
in Dying Light 2 occurs 20 years after the events of the first game. And if you're wondering what happened in those intervening 20 years, well, there's no better person to ask than the Dying Light 2 with who I'll be talking
Jezu,
in just a
Elgato.
moment.
And after that,
W
I'll be
takim
speaking
momencie.
with Piotr Ziemianek, the narrative director of the game, so about the characters that appear in Dying Light 2.
Thomas Gerbund.
Welcome to the show, Thomas. So the first question I have for you today is, do I need to have played Dying Light 1 to sort of understand what's happening in Dying Light 2?
No, actually, you don't. Like you mentioned before, our game takes place some 20 years later, in a world where humankind has lost the war to the virus. So,
Ona się pyta, czy
in
ona
a way,
musi
you could
umieć
say that
grać.
Dying Light 2 takes us to the
A
world
on
beyond the
mówi, że
apocalypse.
w Dying Light
Intriguing.
nie
Alright,
musicie
tell me
umieć w ogóle
more,
grać, żeby
please.
grać.
Well, you remember the events of Heron in 2014.
Tak było.
Well, after that, world leaders, they had a tough choice to make. They had to isolate the city of Heron.
Right.
For that, they created an exclusion zone. Like in Chernobyl, only a lot more people were left to die inside the walls.
Yeah, right. So they just isolated the entire city. And did it
Jak się
help? Did
skończyła
it
część
stop the
pierwsza, nie
virus?
wiem, on tam
Yeah,
miał
for
uciec,
a while
nie?
it worked.
Ale nie pamiętam nawet, co się
Enough for
stało.
everyone to forget about it, at least. Only in secret, a handful of scientists continued to study the virus. You know, manipulating its DNA, creating new strains. They were looking for commercial military applications. So, you know, they're doing it for the money, really.
Yeah, of course. So what
Ja nie
happened
pamiętam, to
next?
ta gra była 10
Well,
lat
next,
temu chyba.
the shit hit the fan. By Christmas 2021, one of these mutated strains
powiedział, że gówno
escaped
wpadło
from
w
a level 4
wentylator.
laboratory located near Geneva. We don't really know if this was accidental or not, but this time the virus was much faster than any government. Before the world could react, civilization was on the brink of collapse. People were dying in the streets, capital cities were burning. By the end of 2023, 98% of the population had been lost to the virus. There was a few settlements remaining, but only one city was still standing. The last bastion of mankind, our city, Villador, aka the city.
Right, so Villador is what we have left. So that's everything that's happened outside of the city. What actually happens inside Villador?
Well, the city has unique rules. First of all, it's surrounded by
Zobaczmy, co się na
seemingly
czatku dzieje.
impassable walls. And inside the walls, the people that decided to
Spamik
use a
leci.
radical
Polska
new
górą
weapon
jest
against the
napisane.
infection, which actually gave them the upper hand in the first stages of the pandemic. But it also created
Kleję swoje
terrifying
motki,
new monster
patrzcie.
archetypes.
Lecą.
15 years on, a new equilibrium sort of emerged in the city. By daylight, human factions fight to
105
control the
000
city,
osób ogląda.
and at night, the streets become the realm of these bloodthirsty, infected monsters.
Great. Well, that is extremely interesting. Thank you very much, Thomas. And we'll be hearing more about the vibrant and fantastic city soon, I hope.
Fantastic
but first,
city.
I think we need to hear a little bit more about the characters.
Ja się tam pytał o fabułę, pokażcie jakiś gameplay.
Our second guest is a man of two industries, cinema and gaming. In a previous life, he wrote the hit HBO series Wataha?
Wataha, yeah.
Wataha. And then he moved on to Techland to become a narrative director. Piotr Ziemianek.
Hi, guys. Thank you.
So we have plenty of time to talk about the rest of the characters in Dying Light 2. There are tons of them. But today, I think we want to focus on Aiden Caldwell, the protagonist. You want to talk more about him? Or?
Yeah, sure. So, Aiden, he's the member of Outcasts, you know, the group of people traveling through this dangerous world of Dying Light 2 called pilgrims, because he's looking for his relative, the person whom he lost many, many years ago, and that person is his only memory from the past. And the only answer to
Szuka
whom
koleś.
Aiden really is.
Aiden is a
Główny
really
bohater będzie
rich, deep
szukał
character,
kogoś
very much
znajomego.
cooler than I am.
Oh, no, come on.
I mean, he can run across buildings, jump from rooftop to rooftop, use all kinds of weapons.
Yeah, well, you know, he didn't have much choice. This world is full of infected, bloodthirsty creatures, so he didn't have much choice, right? The weak die, the strong survive, and Aiden, he just has to be strong. But why did he come like
Just
that?
had to be
Why,
strong.
why him? That's the main question of the game, and the player will have opportunity also to decide how Aiden will evolve. Will he help the weak? Will it distract him from his main goal? Or maybe he will just strive to the end of his search as soon as possible.
I can't imagine trying to survive or live in a city like that as a lone wolf by yourself without any kind of support.
Well, he's not gonna be alone, you know. He will meet many people. But again, depending on the player choices, some of them will become his allies, but some of them will become his enemies. One of the group he will encounter are the Night Runners,
Night
the former
Runners.
special force officers who were sick of the army's cynicism and lack of concern for common people. But they were brave enough to help the people during the night. And the night, as you know, is pretty horrifying in the game.
Yeah, so Aiden joins them, joins the Night Runners.
Oh, that's the question, my friend. The player will have to answer too. I won't spoil the pleasure of discovering Aiden's actions and true motivations, but what I can share with you is the fact that we really put big effort to make this character and many others complex and
ALCIK98
multidimensional.
subskrybuje
But
już od
there is
18
so much more to
miesięcy,
be discovered
18
during
lat
the game.
suwolo,
It's
suwolo,
fascinating. Can't wait to
suwolo.
learn more. Thank you so much,
Dzięki,
Ken.
Alcik, za
you.
słupka.
So before we watch the gameplay trailer of Dying
Jezu,
Light 2
gameplay
for the
zaraz
first time,
będzie.
we need to talk about something which is basically at the center of the Dying Light universe, which is
Sub na
community.
kanale Techlandu.
Over the past few years, Dying Light has amassed over 23 million players and a 95% positive review rating on Steam.
which in Steam Talk is overwhelmingly positive. So bravo.
Yeah, we'd like to take a few seconds and
spamik
thank you
leci.
guys.
Thank you all for being on this journey with us. Thank you for sharing
Patrzcie,
your
oni
love
tu
with others
rysują.
of Dying Light.
W ogóle
And thank
Dying
you
Light ma
for
jakieś
these great
super
moments
community
spent
fajne.
together. Dying Light 1 has some amazingly creative fans, which is fantastic, pardon the pun, because we're going to be starting a brand new contest which will combine your love of Dying Light with that same creativity.
With the release date of Dying Light 2 drawing ever closer, we'd like to extend our hand and invite you to make the community a little bit bigger. If you find yourself skilled in the ways of visual arts, writing, or costumes and cosplay, please
Kurde, ja chyba
join the
cosplay
Dying Light
zrobię.
universe.
So check out dyinglightgame.com/contest, and if you win, there's a fantastic monetary prize on the line. But also, there's some other great rewards you could be in with a chance with winning as well.
Like Platinum Edition of Dying Light. Look at this. This is the finest edition of Dying Light ever made. This is the Platinum Edition of Dying Light. This has every bit of content ever released for Dying Light in one place. It's massive. I mean, look at it.
For those of you who haven't experienced Dying Light yet, we are introducing Dying Light 1 Platinum Edition. It's the biggest and most complete edition to have ever existed.
And
Platinum.
we're offering it to you now at an historically low price. All the content, lowest price.
It's literally no better time to buy than now, and you can get it on Steam, Xbox, and PlayStation.
Get your Platinum
No jak
edition
na
of
Steamie,
Dying
chcę
Light now.
nie
This
chcę
is the
Platinum,
best
tylko
offer
chcę, kurde,
ever.
kolekcjonerkę
I guess we don't have
elegancką.
time to go over everything
Ja
that's
się
in the
kupuję
Platinum edition, but
kolekcjonerkę
it
z
is
zombie.
everything. This is how it looks.
What? Samochód można mieć? To jest granie, to jest ten poprzedni, nie? Tutaj jest ten Battle Royale. Bo ja nie wiem, na co patrzę. Na co ja patrzę, powiedzcie mi. DLC to jest podstawka. Czyli po prostu na pierwszą część gry.
Okay, so I'm excited because you guys are in just a second gonna see
Po
the
co pokazują
official
grę?
gameplay
Żebyście
trailer for
kupili
Dying
teraz
Light 2.
jeszcze
And
sobie
then
jeszcze
after
raz
that, we're gonna
zagrali w
interview some of
pierwszą.
the devs that made it possible.
So, without further ado, here it is.
Hey everyone,
We've been quiet for some time, since, like the rest of the world, we had some unforeseen hurdles to clear. But the wait is over. Let's dive into the open world of Dying Light 2. The last slice of Dying Light 2 showcased the mission from the main storyline.
You get after those fuckers.
You saw how your decisions influenced the narrative and notably changed the environment. This time, we want to give you a broader look at the game and a sneak peek at some of the things we'll be talking about in upcoming months.
The story.
In Dying Light 2, you become Aiden Caldwell, an outsider trying to unravel a tangled mystery from his past. Its trail leads him to the city, probably the last bastion of mankind in the world.
Shit!
At first, you feel like this intense, brutal place will tear you apart. But then you meet the Night Runners, veteran survivors who help people in better days.
By the way, I'm Hakon.
You were a night runner. You used to help people, remember?
Night runners are gone. Finished. A myth.
Night Runners are gone.
And although it's not entirely clear you can trust them, you need allies in the dark. And these are the modern Dark Ages. It's been 15 years since the apocalypse and the world has changed. The old civilization has fallen, but a new one has been built on its ashes. People fight desperately for scarce resources. Rules are broken, and weakness is punished.
She's innocent!
3 factions struggle for position in the city. Survivors pride themselves on being able to adapt to any circumstances and cobble together safe zones almost everywhere. Peacekeepers, loyal soldiers who want to impose their version of law and order and trample all in their path. Renegades, ex-prisoners serving their ruthless colonel, seeking to become sole rulers of the city.
Where is Wolves?
Wolves! Make him talk.
Use these factions to reach your goal. Help or harm them to reshape the
No
city
dobra,
to
ale
your
wygląda
liking.
ten gameplay jak prawdziwa gra, a nie jakieś tam,
Just
wiecie...
remember, each faction
Nie jest to
contains
next
complex
gen,
characters.
ale wygląda jak gameplay z prawdziwej gry, którą
Nosy
robią.
Parker, ain't ya? Got some kind of bad habit of yours?
So, will you follow cold calculation or your heart?
The Bazaar needs good people. Help us and you'll find a home here.
Some in the city offer no chance for an alliance. Bandits, outlaws, and common thugs live only to plunder
Ale to jest
and
taki
kill,
trochę ostatni
plunging
moment
the
na
streets
wydanie tej
into
gry, bo
chaos.
na niedługo next geny to wychodzą, to wiecie.
Yet, nightfall scares all of them equally. Darkness changes the rules of the world. As the light fails, monsters crawl out of hiding to prey on the poor souls caught outside the safety of UV rays. Hordes of infected pour into the streets like decaying lava. The deadly spawn of 15 years of mutation and evolution. Your only escape? Exploit the city's verticality and flee to the roofs. Though even there, you are never safe from swift and deadly
O ja
virus.
jeba. Żeby tak szybko biegać, to nieźle.
Or even greater threat.
Oj, takie napięcie czuję.
Yet night brings opportunity as well. Nests rife with infected during the day now lie empty. To explore them, you must tread carefully. But those brave enough to face the terrors of the night can loot a jackpot.
Ujo, radioaktywny apteczek.
Luckily, you have all the tools you need to survive. Your extraordinary parkour skills allow you to navigate even the most treacherous terrain.
Jokiem skokiem słącu, sam jest zombie.
On the roofs, you can count on your parkour acrobatics to save your life. But often, you'll have to face your enemies head on. And then you have to be smart, resourceful,
O, to ja będę ninją.
determined. We've worked hard on the essence of our combat, making sure swinging a big, meaty weapon is fun, satisfying, and well executed. But even the most brutal fights can be tactical as well. You have multiple ways to hone your skills toward the gameplay style that suits you best. It's up to you if you focus mostly on mobility and parkour, or aggressive, blunt force combat, or a crafty approach where the tools you've created get the job done. Every ability you learn can be a game changer
Ja
and
będę
possibly a new
parkurowcem,
favorite move.
rzemieślnikiem. Magiem
Things
ognia.
move fast and quick in Dying Light 2. Each moment matters. Each move could mean triumph or defeat. Choose your actions and friends carefully. Everything you do in the city can reshape the gameplay environment, change the course of the narrative, and decide the fate of the city's residents.
Oh shit.
But most importantly, you decide your own fate as well.
You're about to turn.
Make sure to stay human.
An extensive post-apocalyptic world. And I really like that divisiveness, you know, the life on the roof and then death on the streets.
Yeah, like the intensity of the day and the night cycle together.
It's almost like Dying Light 2 is two different games put together into one.
Yeah, like despite all the brutality going on the ground floor, there's something about like the rooftops and the plants. And
It's
stuff.
cozy.
Yeah, I kind of want to be there. But it does feel like every decision is vital. Like your choices actually do have some consequences.
Choices and consequences are incredibly vital to Dying Light 2's gameplay. And we're going to interview some devs and talk about some other very vital gameplay mechanics.
Dobra, teraz będą bajdurzyć. Przygotujcie
Our
się na
next
to.
guest is Adrian Shibo. Hi.
Krzyżewski.
Welcome, and that gameplay looked awesome. I know we can't wait to get our hands on it, but congrats.
Yeah, for sure. It looks like you guys have a very unique
jest od
world
audio
and a
chyba.
very unique game. Where y'all get your
A
inspiration
nie,
from?
od
That was
skanowania.
a research. We did a deep dive into the history of our world,
widzicie, na
and we
pewno
found
jest od skanowania.
repetitive patterns. We found that people use the same behaviors in the past after the fall of civilization
Dobra,
or
co
after
ludzie
the
piszą?
fall of the nation that's supposed to be a backbone of
Polska
our world.
górą.
So our approach was super simple. We just copycat those behaviors and
Chyba
attitudes
sami Polacy
and
raczej.
show you how our world would
Dobra,
look like
zobaczmy,
after the
co-
fall.
co piszą na
However,
Twitterze.
it's kind of obvious that the main reason that civilization fall is virus pandemic or eventually the economical collapse. Yeah, that's basically obvious thing. But it's even darker if you connect those things with the research we did at the beginning of the production. So people will question everything. They're gonna blame everything and everyone that's supposed to guide us in our lives every day. So they're gonna blame governments, they're gonna blame law, they're gonna blame science, or even religion. Some people might ask themselves that, where was God when it happened to us, basically, you know? So I feel that all of those things together creates the sensation that it's a giant step backward for our civilization.
So, Dying Light 2
Lol,
has
nie
a
wypowiada się
subtitle,
inaczej,
Stay
lol.
Human. What does
Jezu,
that
on
mean?
mówi
Well,
po angielsku, to jest
super
Polak, że
hard
nie wiedzą, że to jest
to
Polak.
remember
To jak
those
mam gadać?
values that
Już
makes us
wiecie.
human, so like
Tak, no,
compassion
akurat tak mówi,
or
no.
support. So
I tak go
The
każdy go
entire
zrozumie.
fall, that those dark times we have is a big test for everyone. And I think it's even harder test because to stay human, people would sacrifice what's the most important for them or sometimes risk their lives.
Wow, so that's like really intense. And there's like the obvious like double meaning to it, which is what I was thinking.
Law.
Stay human, don't become
Law.
a zombie.
Law.
Yeah, but
Law.
one understand that those are not zombies.
Law. Law.
Those are
Law.
infected people that
Law.
turn to be a monster. They're
Law.
just crossing a line, you know, and they're turning to be a monster, you know. Because in Dying Light, we all infected. Yeah, we all wearing this biomarker, you know it, and you're wearing this, I'm wearing this. That's a watch, actually, but you know that, you know. So that's the thing. So the challenge is to not cross this line at all costs. So that's the biggest challenge of staying human in this meaning.
I see, yeah, not zombies.
Not zombies.
Not zombies.
Może Dying
People
Light,
cross the line.
Pandemia dobrze
Well,
wypromuje.
fascinating. Thank you so much, Adrian. We're definitely going to be hearing from you again soon.
Yeah, thank you so much.
We have with us Katarzyna Tarnacka, the environmental art director.
Hi.
And we have game designer Michał Duzak.
Hello.
So, choices and consequences. The player has to make a choice, and they have to.
System of choice and consequences is really, really complex. I would say the best way to describe it is that player is making the decisions based on 3 layers. First one are the choices that you do during the main story missions. And those big changes are actually can change the whole game or even how the story ends. The second layer are choices that you do while the quest.
Wybory. Wiecie,
Those
jak to jest z
choices
tymi
can
wyborami w
actually
grze.
influence the mission itself. And the last one, the last layer is so-called city alignment system. And I, as an open world game designer, would like to focus on.
Please do, go on.
All right, so water and electricity are basically a key to survive in every world. By restoring it, player cannot not only unlock the water or electricity in the area, but he can also, based on his decision, assign it to one of the factions, which will influence how the district looks like or who's going to live inside of it. But it also, what is pretty more important for a player, unlock new tools for him. Like
Jakby to wyszło
unique
całe, to
tools
za
for each
granicą już nikt nie
factions,
kupił polskiej
like
gry.
card
Oj,
traps,
nie no, dużo jest
ziplines
polskich
or
gier, nie
trampoline.
tylko z
The player can
Cyberpunk i
use an
Dying Light, nie?
exploration to deal with bandits
No ale lepiej, żeby im
infected,
wyszło, nie?
or simply to move faster through the city. So basically, based on your choices, you shape the
Niech się
game
ten game
environment,
dev w Polsce rozwija,
which gives
ale
you
myślę, że
a
on nie
different
zależy od
experience
Dying
every
Light.
time you start a new game. And what is worth mentioning here that Dying Light 2 is playable up to 4 co-op players. So you can host the game or join other players and see
Co-op
how their
players,
choices
4
came
osoby
up
da się gra.
differently to your own.
Interesting.
Tego
There's
nie
one thing I'm
wiedziałem.
really curious about, though.
Mogę grać
Night
z
versus
3
day.
goniami.
How does the gameplay differ from the night and the day?
Well, the short answer is that day is for humans and night is for the monsters. But to describe it a little bit better, I would say that during the
Jaką
day,
byście widzieli drużynę
humans,
4-osobową?
factions, bandits or survivors scavenging the city and searching for some scraps or someone who might have them. And this is the best time for a player to explore the city, meet its citizens, learn their stories, day-to-day agenda, or even simply help them in a quest or open world activities to survive those dark ages.
Yeah, and that sounds quite pleasant, but I'm guessing night changes everything.
Exactly, exactly. During the night, all the infected get out of the buildings. And compared to the Dying Light 1, the night is going to be even more intense this time. Intense in terms of the amount of enemies, their new types, and new, more aggressive behaviors. And what is important, this time night can mean also opportunity. An opportunity for the players who are courage and skilled enough to use the fact that all the infected are outside and buildings are accessible to explore them and search for the most valuable loot in the game.
Katarzyna, you're responsible for the post-apocalyptic look of the city.
Można
Can you tell us a little
lutować
bit how about the city
w nocy.
became to look that way?
Yes, I guess the important thing to realize is in 2025, a decision was made to use a chemical attack to stop the spread of the Haran virus. And the
No,
result is
The
a
Last of
tight
Us nie
ring
ma
of
nic wspólnego z
chemically
Dying
active
Light.
areas around the city. Some of the chemicals have gotten into the groundwater and spread under the surface, killing every living plant and every living thing in its reach. What it means for the city is that the street levels are virtually dead. The soil is unable to sustain any life, any plant, and the street level is a domain of the monsters, just decaying in every aspect.
Wow. So it sounds like there's just no healthy organic life down there at all.
Brać przykład
Not
z
really.
Rockstar
The
Games.
survival
Zrobią
on the street
dobrze
level
bez
is pretty
obietnic.
tough. So the common people
No tak, ale
are
Rockstar
just
robi jedną grę
visitors
10
there.
lat.
But the life prevailed. It
I
moved up
kosztuje ich
to
2
the
miliardy
rooftops.
dolarów albo
And
więcej.
this is where the plants are flourishing and blooming in the post-apocalyptic landscape. And this is where people build and develop the new world of Dying Light 2. Electricity producing windmills and safe zones for the player. And in a way, in a metaphorical sense, the rooftops are the new default ground floor, the level 0. And trip to the streets is in a way
Czyli to
a trip
kazali streamować?
underground,
Nie, nie
a
kazali,
-1
ale
of sorts,
lubię
just
takie
the
wydarzenia, bo sobie
corpse of,
oglądam wtedy, co
of a
tam
lost
ciekawego
civilization.
się pojawi.
Yeah, to say the
Znaczy, ja bym to
least,
sobie
I
sam
can't
mógł
imagine
obejrzeć
being a
bez was,
citizen
ale że
living
już
in
byłem na
that city,
streamie
let alone being a player, how
drapaczkowym.
challenging that's going to be.
To się
Yeah,
włączyłem
and hold
też
that
tutaj.
thought. Thank you very much for joining us today, but it's now time to introduce our next
Jakie
guest.
state of play jest w 23?
With us now are Bartosz and Peter. And guys, I have one
Bartosz,
question about the
kulon!
open world in Dying Light 2. How
To
big
jest
is it?
kulon?
It's pretty big.
We know
Kulon.
that. Can you tell us a little bit more?
Yes, of course. The map in Dying Light 2 is divided into 2 huge regions and several zones.
Okay.
There are plenty leftovers from the lost civilization for you to scavenge. But we didn't want our players to perceive the map only horizontally, so we see the map as a multi-level 3D world that supports your traversal and helps you solve parkour puzzles.
Yes, in-house we call it multi-layer open world exploration. And you know, the movement system from Dying Light 1, we remove every restriction from the player. You can move everywhere you want, how you want to do
Kojarzę
it.
te
And
twarze.
when I think about it, I think that was big challenge for us to create the geometry that support all of that. And we did it, and I think we did it well. Doing the same thing in Dying Light 2 wasn't our goal. We want to make one or more step forward to surprise the player expectation. That's why we doubled the number of parkour moves.
Doubled, and I mean, it's not like there was a shortage in Dying Light 1, so what?
Yes, the iconic Dying Light 1 parkour is essential there. We improve it. We double the number of parkour moves. The players will see over 3,000 different parkour animations. From the basic move, through the tricks, to the small little tasty details there that you can see it.
Okay, well, unfortunately, I'm gonna have to stop you
3000
there. But don't hate me,
ruchów?
because in the next episode, we're going to be talking
Czuję to
more about
nagłówki w
parkour
gazetach.
and how the team have managed to make an authentic urban running experience in Dying Light 2.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for the information. Bartosz, Peter, it's been a pleasure.
Thank
No,
you.
studia
Thank
mają
you very much.
elegancję. Kulon najlepiej z Bartoszem. Peterem fajnie pokazali.
Okay, so the last and arguably the most important question I'm sure you have is, when is the release date?
Yeah, that is a very, 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 very important question.
And luckily, we have the answer. And that answer is the 7th of December.
Waited years to say that
7
out loud.
December, ja piszę sobie
Now that we know the
kalendarz.
release date of the game, it's time for you to go pre-order it. Go to
December.
dyinglight.com/pre-order, select your platform, and then hit
November
pre-order.
7.
There you go. Congratulations. You just pre-ordered one of the most anticipated games
Dying
of this year. Go you.
2. Premiera.
Oh, wow. I want one.
Well, I've got good news for you then,
O,
because this
jaka
official
figurka.
figurine
Yeah.
is part of the collector's
Światełko się
edition of
świeci w
Dying
niej.
Light 2, and you can get one for yourself if you want. We'll leave like a proper unboxing of the whole set to the professionals, but we do have it all in front of us right
Ciekawe,
now,
ile
so
kosztuje, pewnie
it'd be
z
rude not
6
to take a
stówek
look.
albo 7.
You get, in the collector's edition, a concept art book full of stunning artwork from the game. You get this steel book, which will have your game inside it, of course. And you get this interesting little sort of
Dying
UV
Light.
flashlight. So, yeah.
Cool.
Zamów
Looks like there's all sorts of
teraz.
vanity elements in here too, like some legendary skin packs, as well as all sorts of digital elements. For more information on these digital
Pre-order.
elements, please visit the pre-order website. I want this, and I want Dying Light 2.
Kind
Dying
of thought you'd
Light
say that. Well, if you're feeling the same
pre-order.
way, then I've got good news, because you can pre-order the collector's edition. However, it is very, very limited, so you'll have to be very quick.
Rest assured, there will be
mały.
plenty of the standard edition for your standard gamer, but if you're into special editions, there is a
Nie działa.
deluxe edition of Dying Light 2 with a steel
Nie
book,
działa.
legendary pack, and a digital soundtrack, and much, much more.
So to
Może
summarize,
będzie
that's
później
3 different editions that you can buy depending on what you're after.
Zepsuliście, bo żeście wszyscy weszli kupić.
And if you just can't wait until release to get immersed in the world of Dying Light 2, then why don't you go check out the Techland Gamers and Goodies website for more info.
Yeah, this is a program for all gamers, whether or not you want updates on Dying Light 2 with the news, or you want Dying Light 2 items in Dying Light 1. Everyone's gonna find something they like there.
Yep, and this is just an initial offering as well. Check back later for even more details, more information, and we'll be going through it in future episodes as well.
That's it. Don't forget to pre-order the game and take part in our contests. The details are on the game's website.
And here's a sneak peek at the topic of the next episode. Thank you for watching and stay safe out there. Bye!
No bardzo ładne to było. Bardzo fajni prezenterzy. Fajnie, że ten koleś, co podkłada głosy z prezenterem tutaj był. Pani też bardzo ładnie wystąpiła. Trailer mi się podoba. Ten zombie. Nie ma jakiejś tam grafiki, co to nikt nigdy później w grze nie będzie. 1100 zł kolekcjonerka. O Jezu. To mnie chyba nie stać. Może będę uśmiechał się i mi dadzą. Jak znam życie, to mi już kolekcjonerek nie dadzą. Za mało was jest. 99 osób na streamie. Ludzie, jak my mamy kolekcjonerkę dostać? Z tyloma osobami to na pewno nie dadzą. No ale gdzie wy to widzicie? Jestem na Techland, daję zamów teraz. I nie ma tu, kurde, dąż do ocalałych. Nie chcę. Gdzie wy to widzicie, ten preorder? Bo ja tu miałem zamów teraz. Zamów teraz. A jest. Okej. Platforma PC. Pudełkowa. Kolekcjonerska. Shit. Unikatowe zawieszki, broń, tapety i cyfrowy komiks. Dostęp, coś tam. 2 godziny bonus do XP. Pakiet skórek. Legenda. Akceptuję. No dobra, na mówę. Euro RTV. O, ja tam zawsze kupowałem, bo tam było najtaniej. 1100 zł. Jezu święty. Braść. Kusi. Poczekam, namyślę się jeszcze. Teraz jestem słabo z kasą, wiecie. Ciekawe ile na 3 kropki. Wszędzie pewnie te... 998 Ty, na 3 kropkach, a tu jest po ile? Tu w ogóle nie ma. 1100, a tu 90... To na 3 kropki lepiej kupić. A Grymel? Co to jest Grymel? Tego nie znam. Ludzie, jestem tak załadowany już teraz w akcję. Jak to się mówi, po same łokcie. Akcje muszą iść w górę, moi drodzy. Stong only go up. No dobra, no fajne to było. To jak coś, to pamiętajcie, 3 kropki, no Grymel słabo, bo nie pokazał, bo jest ten. 3 kropki, najtańsza oferta, polecane przez oficjalną stronę, więc legitnie. Chyba że za przesyłkę 100 biorą. Co to jest na miniaturce? Koleś wygląda jak z jakiejś takiej śmiesznej gry, jakby sobie koleś skarpetę założył. Tryb kooperacji, no dobra. 214 zł. Właśnie, a ile kosztuje zwykła edycja? Chcemy standardową edycję, najzwyklejszą. Taką, wiecie, dla zwykłego gracza, dla zwykłego Polaka. 189 zł. To jak, moim zdaniem, jak na grę w naszych czasach, no teraz gry to po 300 zł chcą już sprzedawać, ale za to, jeśli oczywiście weźmiecie wersję pudełkowa. Jeśli wejdziecie w wersję cyfrową, to pewnie jest droższa. Gdzie to? Platforma PC, cyfrowa, Steam. No i na Steamie to pewnie ile? A, 199. No dobra. A sprawdźmy teraz platforma, ile kosztuje na PS5, bo to wiadomo, że pewnie będzie majątek. Już sprawdzam. Nie, 260. Dobra, przyzwoita cena. Moim, jak na te czasy, co teraz są, to kurde elegancko. No i tu napiszę elegancko. Napiszę tak. Elegancko było. Dobra cena gry. Tak napiszę. Dobra.